Hello, muscle car fans. So what we have here is a relatively modern muscle car, I suppose. It's well past the 60s, but it's the 1987 Buick Grand National GNX. Now, I always knew about this car as a kid. There was someone in my town when I was a kid that had one of these. Every now and then I'd spot it, and I thought, yeah, that was a cool looking car. This car is actually dubbed the Darth Vader car because of its black nature, and Star Wars was out at this time. So all I knew was it was a mean-looking car as a kid, but that's about it. I knew nothing else about it, so I learned a little about this car today here using the power of the internet. So the Buick Regal line came out. Well, let's see. It first started in 1973, so it dates back quite a ways. I never knew that. But this is the second generation Buick Regal, which was sold between 78 and 1987. And it's in 1987, the very last year of this second generation, that they came out with the GNX, which stood for Grand National Experimental. It's supposed to be the best of the history of this lineup, which I suppose it was. It was actually an expensive car. It was $30,000 back then, which is around $70,000 in today's money. So, and it was developed in partnership with McLaren Performance Technologies. And only 547 of these were made. So that car I saw as a kid, that was a pretty rare car. I had no clue. There's a 3.8 liter turbo V6 in this thing, and it was making around 300 horsepower. They actually spec'd it under that, but people suspect this thing really made around 300 horsepower. So that doesn't sound like too much in today's powertrains. But the internet says this thing was actually faster than the Ferrari F40, faster than the Countach, and then faster than the Porsche 930. So obviously that's in a straight line, because if you take it to a racetrack, there's no way it's going to keep up with a Porsche or probably the Ferrari either. But in a straight line, this thing was actually faster, so I never knew that before. Quite interesting. Some of the design elements that make this a GNX are the vents here in the front fenders. And then I guess there's some deletion of all the badging, or a lot of the badging emblems. And then it's got these 16-inch wheels, which are not accurate by Hot Wheels. I mean, they're pretty cool wheels, I think. But if you look at a photograph of the car, it's got these honeycomb BBS-style black wheels here. And those are 16-inch rims, I guess. So, yeah, you saw it next to the photos. Hopefully you could have paused it and decided if you think the model looks accurate. What I'm trying to figure out now is the scale. So the internet tells me this is 5,095 millimeters long. Let's get the calipers out. Zeroed, yep. Measure the longest point here. So 77.26. It's like 1/66 scale. It's not a great deal off, but it's definitely a little bit small. Okay, so that curiosity has been fulfilled. So let's just take a look here at the details of this model now. Okay, so yeah, the wheels obviously aren't accurate, but they're pretty cool actually. But I figure I'll make my own. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to pull off those honeycombs though. They're so thin, those little spokes. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we do have those little side vents molded into the casting, so that's pretty good. It's just all black, and it's pretty nice. It's not 100% perfect. I mean, there's a little contaminant or something there. Going to the back here, you got the printing. Oddly, I'm not sure why there's some black verticals here. When I compared it to the photos that you just saw while I was holding the model next to it, it doesn't have that. Maybe though on the real car there are some dividers, and it's just the angle of the real photograph that doesn't show those dividers. But okay, and sadly I don't think this print is level. It seems like it's more like that, right? It's going down on this side. Here it does say something, although it's not legible, focused on it, but it's just kind of like a blob of text. I would assume it must say Grand National or something, or Buick Regal. I'm not sure. Okay, what do we have here? Okay, we got some little bumper protrusions here, which is accurate to the real car. Let's see Seems odd though. I'm not sure why they would put those on the real car. Okay, well this side here, what's this look like? Got some fingerprints all over this, but this side's a lot better it seems. No contaminants that I can tell right now. Okay, going to the front. This is why I like Hot Wheels Premiums. It's not just a solid white mass of paint, you know. I like how they print these shadows and little textures into their headlights. I think they look far more realistic than just a solid white panel, which I don't understand why like other US diecast brands do that, you know, and in particular Auto World. So there's a reason why I don't have one Auto World in my collection yet. It's because those headlights really bother me. Okay, well here we got Grand National. So yeah, that's nice to see on the license plate. And then we got some orange paint here for, I imagine these must be the turn signals. Although there is a little orange here, so I'm not sure which are the turn signals. Maybe both. I don't know. If anyone owns one, let me know. A little contaminant here on the hood. 2 of them actually. Okay. That's interesting. It's almost like an opaque black windshield, but I do think it's smoked. Yeah, because you can see here, it's just a super dark tint they have here on this glass. And then they have it compounded by the black interior, which is usually lame from Hot Wheels. Let's get a flashlight. Yeah, that's a pretty lame interior. That steering wheel is just totally flat. It's weak. Okay. Alright, well you're not going to get the greatest detail out of a Hot Wheels interior. I think everyone knows that. Okay, look at the trunk here. Yeah, it's a bunch of contaminants. There and there, and then there's a casting scratch or there and there. But I've seen a lot worse from this brand, so I think it's alright. It might even be on the better side of things. So it's pretty rare to find a perfect Hot Wheels. What do you guys think? Okay, so anyways, I think it's a cool model. It's a little bit out of scale, but I'm not aware of a true 164. Maybe, well, there's a lot of other videos. I know Ron's Muscle Diecast, he does a lot of reviews of this. He loves this car. But it's those opening hoods that bother me. That's why I won't track down those, I think it was Johnny Lightning, and I forget what the other one was. Maybe Auto Worlds that does Grand Nationals. But I do like these headlights and no panel gaps, so that's why I like this one more. So the big challenge I think will be whether or not I can make those honeycomb wheels. The spokes are so thin. I don't have an expensive printer. My printer was only like 300 bucks. It's a Frozen Sonic Mini 4K if you guys are curious. Okay, well anyways, give me a minute and we'll see what happens. Okay, and so we're back here, and what I chose to do is I replaced the entire wheel that Hot Wheels provided, but I kept the original tires, which turned out to be extremely thin. Other than that, they didn't do any mods. So let's take a look here at the actual car. Now, back in 1987, there weren't the concept of low-profile tires as a styling choice wasn't really there. So you can see the sidewalls on the real car are much taller than the sidewalls on these Hot Wheels rubber tires. So yeah, it's kind of weird looking. It's kind of like a modern update, I guess, retro modern styling. Here's a picture of the real wheel itself. Now, in my CAD program, I could have made these 100% accurate, but I have to factor in the fact, you know, my 3D printer isn't the best, and also some of you guys seem to want to actually buy these things, so I have to design them to fit the requirements put up by shapeways.com. They have a certain length versus width ratio. Otherwise it just won't print properly or reliably. You know, they'll have to print it a bunch of times to get a good part. So I have to meet their requirements as well. So yeah, okay, so another thing is the rims of these wheels. Instead of silver paint, I mentioned this brand a lot, I have these Molotow liquid chrome paint markers. And it's a little shinier than the standard silver paint. If you lay it on perfectly the very first time, they actually will be quite reflective chrome, but if you layer them upon itself, kind of like these rims, it kind of dulls it down. So just a little tip for you guys. Okay, so let's put it up on the spin thing for one final one final go round, and you can compare against the photo again. So yeah, it's quite interesting. You know, back in high school, I never really cared about the statistics of this car. I just thought it looked cool. It looked like Darth Vader's car. But it turns out this is actually a pretty significant part of a U.S. Muscle car history. It was faster than a lot of the European imports. Like, I had no idea it was faster than the F40 or the Countach or Porsche. So it's pretty cool. And then I didn't know it was so rare as well. So it's really nice that Hot Wheels made a pretty nice model at a reasonable price for this. So now the question is, will a premium brand make one? When I say premium, I want one with no opening panels, super thin windows, and then obviously true 1/64 scale. Although I'm not sure if they could even do those wheels because the spokes are just so narrow. So maybe it can't be done. Well, anyways, this is a good placeholder until someone does try to do it. Okay, well, again, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next project.